Well, welcome to Personal Bankruptcy Canada. This is a place where we talk about money things that are affecting Canadians, financial problems, and to try to make you aware of these. And to joining me today, I've got David Smith, who is a founder of Personal Bankruptcy Canada and a trustee and bankruptcy trustee. Hi there, David.
Hello, good day.
Hi, big topic today about credit card spending over the holiday season. That's pretty much a way of life, I would think. You may know the actual percentages, but I think it's very high that people will use credit cards over the holiday season.
Certainly this time of year is when we see the limits on credit cards being pushed. People are taking on more and more debt this time. It's a big period of spending in the economy and by individuals. It's very likely we'll be at record levels of debt at the end of this holiday season.
Okay, but here's a few questions regarding using the credit cards. As I'm going to make my purchase, oftentimes I get asked, would I like a store credit card? And by signing up with that store credit card, they'll give me another 10 or 20% off. Good idea or bad idea?
The idea is it's great to save money, right? We have to be really aware, though. They're offering us a 10% discount so that we'll get their credit card. That credit card probably will have an interest rate somewhere well over 20%, maybe 28, 29% interest. It's a very high interest rate. Now, nobody ever has to pay interest if they pay the credit card off on time in full. But they're banking on the fact that most of us don't do that. And we have to look at understand our own selves and say, if we're going to save 10%, but we know realistically that we're not going to be able to pay it off in full, pretty soon that 10% saving is going to be costing us 30% a year. And that's a slippery slope to go down. So, and they're offering the discount so they'll make money. We have to make sure they're not making the money off of us.
Okay, so what's your advice then to Canadians who are using credit cards to get through this holiday season? What should they do come January if they can't pay that credit card off?
Right. So one of the things to do, even immediately, not waiting until after the season, is to find out if they get a line of credit. So if your bank will give you a line of credit or increase the amount on your line of credit, generally that's at a much lower interest rate than what any credit card would have on it. So that's one thing, is pay off your credit card and put it on a line of credit. And then stop using the credit card, really. Make sure you're reducing your spending so you'll get your line of credit paid down as well. The other thing is that for some people, of course, there's an ability to transfer balances between credit cards where they've got a discount rate for 6 months if you transfer another balance over. So if you're in that situation, that can help, because what the idea to get in a stronger financial position is first pay less interest so you can pay more on the debt. And so if there's less interest being charged, you'll get ahead faster.
Yeah, that's a really big one. So it is okay then to use those. Sometimes you'll see an offering from one bank that says transfer it all over and you get 1% interest for their 1.9% for 6 months. Okay.
Sure. So that can work. The key is that's for people who are already in debt and they're trying to get down to a lower rate of interest to get back on track financially. Much better to try to make sure that we're living within our means and we're not overspending at Christmas and we don't have a credit card balance that we can't afford to pay off.
But Canadians love their credit cards, and as you just mentioned, we're probably going to see record consumer debts by the end of this holiday season. Some of the highest debt I think that we've maybe have ever seen in our country.
Mm-hmm.
We can't get a handle on our credit cards. Can you help?
Yeah, it's a time to reflect on that, individually, because nothing's going to change unless the individual, the person makes their own choices and decisions around this. And I think some of this the overspending on credit, it comes from all the advertising that's done to us, and we hear it and we feel like, oh, society expects me to do this, everybody else is doing it, I should do it too. And we have to challenge that individually and say, I'm going to live within my own means. I'm going to live what I can afford. I'm not going to get sucked into buying things I cannot afford and paying interest, and other people are profiting, and me and my family are actually suffering as a result of that. So it's us becoming aware that that's the reality of what we're dealing with, and then having the conviction and the strength to start to do something different. Think differently about it.
David, you often you deal with a lot of people who are in a real bad financial situation, and you see the stress they're under. Can you talk very briefly about the stress that financial credit cards and debt can cause on people?
Mm-hmm. Well, certainly people come in and they are in a lot of debt when they're coming to see us, and they are unhappy people. They are stressed, and they don't like their life. They don't like their situation, and it is a very stressful time when oftentimes people say, "There's no way out. I don't know how I'm going to get out of this ever, and I'm not the person I want to be because I always pay my bills on time. I bought this, I spent it, I should have to pay it back." So they're in a very difficult situation where morally they feel I should pay it back. Realistically, I can't afford to pay it back, so I'm unhappy about that. It's internal stress. People get sick over debt.
That's it. Sickness over debt. I would think that the kids would rather have mom and dad being happier as opposed to putting that stuff they can't afford on credit cards to see them happy while they open the gift, but 2 weeks later they're fighting. There's all this tension in the house. The children are going to pick that up, and I think people should listen to the other programs we've already done about changing their spending habits over these holidays.
Absolutely. Now is a good time to reflect on all of our spending and the choices that we're making, and to realize that banks give us easy access to credit because they make profit off of us. Stores put things on sale and put big advertisements out there to encourage us to spend more money, whether we can afford it or not, because they make profit on us buying their goods. It's up to us as individuals to decide how we spend our hard-earned money, and the role model that we are for our friends and our kids and our families, extended families.
All right, what's your final advice regarding holiday spending?
Get a plan. Make a plan. Stick to the plan. Have fun with it. Make a plan that's going to be enjoyable but affordable. And if you make, in anything in life, but at Christmas time, you go out and you make an impulse purchase. Don't beat yourself up from it. It's like in anything that you're trying to do differently, if you fall off the program, forgive yourself and immediately get back on the program. Don't use that as an excuse for the next week to blow your budget because you made one purchase that you regret or you feel like you went offside. So be easy on yourself when that error happens, but be committed to doing the spending that fits your budget that you've planned for.
Terrific. I hope all Canadians watch this. I thank you very much for your time, David.
Thank you. It's been a great session.
You got it. And if you want more information, you can find out more about David Smith and personal bankruptcy online at personalbankruptcycanada.ca.